What's going on, Top 5 Scary family, and welcome back. With movie production slowing down, it's no surprise we're going back and revisiting old classics. This year we were supposed to get A Quiet Place Part 2, Candyman, The Conjuring 3, and many others of course. So here to break down our top 5 horror movies you need to watch before you die, I'm Taylor McWaters. Let's get counting. Kicking off the list with number 5, we have Final Destination. Now, with a list of movies to watch before you die, I of course have to start with the kicker of a series literally just about dying. Of course, being Final Destination 1. Released in 2000, directed by James Wan, we see that idea of cheating death, but we see it in a very brutal way. Starring Devon Sawa, Ali Larter, and the Stiffmeister, aka Seann William Scott, Final Destination was the first movie of what would sadly become a series that's, kind of dying out, pun intended. So the recent 2 installments are super cheesy and kind of overdone. So if you want to try 1 or 2 of them, go back to the early 2000s. The first 3 are mint. The first 3 are good. Death is the villain in this movie, of course. There's no ghosts, no haunted houses, no creepy dolls, just the feeling of death. And it comes in all shapes and sizes, sometimes in a cold chill that blows down your spine, making your hairs go, "Ooh," or other times it's like a hamburger wrapper that's on the ground, and then a guy slips on it and falls on a game of Monopoly, and then all the hotel pieces go in his eyes. It's silly, but it's also still so scary. So in Final Destination 1, we find a group of classmates, and they're about to head to Paris for this nice fancy trip. Right after they board the plane, Alex, played by Devon Sawa, has this premonition of the plane going down, of course killing everybody on board one by one in awful ways, including himself. So right after seeing his own death, he wakes up, still in his seat on the plane during boarding. And then everything's repeating itself. There are certain conversations that are happening again. He finds things wrong with the plane that he found before when he first boarded. And then of course, none of the horrific events actually happened. So he tries to convince everybody to leave the plane. But of course, he only manages to convince a handful of people to get off. Because they think he's crazy or whatever. Now, of course, the inevitable happens and the plane blows up. So naturally, Alex looks insane. He gets questioned by the cops. His friends are asking him questions. No one really trusts him. He looks like this weirdo. But he also nailed what was going to happen, so it's this weird dynamic. The plot itself, with them trying to figure out death, is way more fun than just people dying, and that's what made the first one great. And as if that wasn't bad enough, Death still has names on her list, and she wants to get them, She's coming in hot. Now you're nice, you're dying. So Alex's classmates begin being stalked by Death one by one, and if you like the Saw movies, you'll like these ones. The plot moves around in more locations in the movie, so if you're just into people dying and getting killed in wacky ways, this is a great movie. Whereas a movie like Saw is like, hey, you're just in this one room. Good luck. And before we move on to number 4, guys, if you haven't already, make sure you go ahead and give us a little thumbs up on this video. That helps us out quite a bit here at the studio. And if you don't, we're all gonna start crying as soon as this video's done. We'll know. We know. Okay, back to the list. Let's do it. Number 4, Sinister. Released in 2012, this movie was actually voted by science, proven rather, to be the scariest movie ever. So Broadband Choices created this test where they made 50 people wear heart rate monitors and watch 100 hours of horror movies. And while the average heart rate was 65 beats per minute, while someone was watching Sinister, most viewers' heart rates were averaging in the 86 beat per minute range. So even when it's a slow part, you're still like, ah, God, come on. Sinister was directed by Scott Derrickson and stars Ethan Hawke, the horror novelist who decides it's a great idea to move into the house of a previous unsolved murder, where the youngest child ended up missing and is still missing when he moves in. So of course he doesn't tell his family and decides to take a whack at solving the case, Blue's Clues style, in hopes that he would re-spark his career, which is writing scary stories. So when he's unpacking into this new house, he finds a box in the attic. Just a box in a fresh new house, nothing creepy about that already. The box is filled with footage of past murders, so Ellison decides not to show the cops, but to keep it on the low to himself. The monster in this movie is quite chilling as well. His name's Bughuul. He looks like he's in the band Slipknot. He's this pagan deity, and he has a thing for ruining families' lives. I don't know, you'll see it. See, this movie has a little bit of everything the entire movie. It doesn't reveal too much. In fact, for a horror movie that seems like it's been done before, with a kid with night terrors, we have a haunted house, Ethan Hawke, old film reels, it still leaves you quite surprised. Like usually in a horror movie they have this big reveal, and then after that scary part, the movie goes back to being boring and slow, and you're like, oh, where's the monster? I want to see that cool guy again. Where in this movie they tease like 3 potential endings. They have like 3 plots kind of doing this. So while he writes his book, will the family find out about the murders? What's up with the night terrors kid? Does that old footage that he finds actually matter, or is it just for spookies? I'll never tell. I saw Sinister 2 after, and I'm not sure if Sinister 2 just wasn't a great film, or Sinister 1 was just so good that it's hard to compete. So if you haven't seen Sinister and you're in for some creepy haunted house style horror, search no longer. You're welcome. Number 3, Poltergeist. We go now to the 1982 classic, not the reboot. We don't talk about that. Starring JoBeth Williams, Craig T. Nelson, and of course directed by Tobe Hooper. This is, well, an old movie. We have a family, and soon enough they start getting hunted down by a poltergeist. Now at first it's kind of fun, dare I say fun, but it's not harmful. It only wants to kind of amuse the kids in a way, which is just unsettling enough to begin with. So if you haven't seen the original version, you owe it to yourself to give this a watch. I mean, sure, it's dated and cheesy at parts, but if a story about a family dealing with a poltergeist isn't quite enough to capture your attention, maybe this fun fact will. Okay, the history behind this movie is bone-chilling. Literally. The actress who played Diane, JoBeth Williams, said in an interview that while they were filming, she would have to go and film with what she thought were plastic skeletons in like mud, but she of course found out later that the bones were not props, they were real bones. Real bones! Come on, get your real bones, guys, because they're cheaper than fake ones. Yeah, so production saw the deal and they're like, oh, real bones are cheaper than fake ones. Whatever, they're dead. Bones are bones. They'll look great. Let's get these ones. So yeah, she spent like 5 days filming with human bones, all to save some bucks. I could never do that. Even if they're like, here's $1 million, I wouldn't do that. No way. So what's so scary about this, you ask? Well, people were creeped out with the real bones thing because 4 cast and crew members ended up sadly passing away during and after filming, including the main girl, the little girl Heather O'Rourke, at just age 12. So many have drawn lines, obviously connecting these tragic deaths to the fact that they used remains of real people to film a movie about a poltergeist. That just sounds like trouble saying that out loud. Now, knowing these things while you watch it just adds more goosebumpies to the mix. And the film itself is aged, but it's still really scary. There have been tons of parodies about this movie. Scary Movie, most specifically, really went hard on the making fun of the clown scene. If you don't know what I'm talking about when I say the clown scene, you're watching this movie tonight. Keep the lights on. Good luck. And number 2, Hereditary. Released in 2018, written and directed by Ari Aster, Hereditary tells the horrific story of a family just trying to cope with the loss of their grandmother. It's wildly depressing, but obviously a brilliant horror movie nonetheless. So the family is faced with this dark paranormal entity that has latched itself onto the family for some reason. The movie itself is a slow burn. You see each of these characters trying to cope with the passing of a loved one, but there's also another death in the family that happens near the beginning. I won't tell you who, but you've probably seen it. It's crazy. It's really graphic and it's super fast. Like, it leaves you, the viewer, stunned. This movie has a little bit of everything. We got some cult stuff, we got some ghost stuff, some gore, and the music, oh my god. Colin Stetson's score is haunting enough to sit with you on that long drive home after you watch this movie. It feels slow at parts, so if you watch it and think, that Taylor guy from YouTube kind of hyped this movie up to be this crazy thing. The ending is the craziest thing I've ever seen in a movie, hands down, so give it a chance. This movie is for sure worth the watch just by the acting. I mean, we have powerhouses in this movie. Toni Collette, Alex Wolff, Gabriel Byrne, and Millie Shapiro. They crush it. Ari Aster's most recent flick, Midsommar, is also a great time. So if you're looking for something more of his style, it's super different vibe, but it's still extremely scary and disturbing. And finally, for number 1 of our list, The Blair Witch Project. Yes, this is my favorite. I'm leaving the handheld camera OG film for last. We have the 1999 classic OG shaky cam movie that follows 3 film students as they travel into a Maryland forest to film a documentary on the local Blair Witch legend. Directed by Daniel Myrick and Eduardo Sanchez, The Blair Witch Project was a first of its kind. The reason I kept this movie for last instead of many others that should and could be on this list, it's because it was such a simple and cheap movie that changed the game forever. With only a budget of $60,000, this movie made $248 million. That was a big step in the horror game, especially the fact this was in 1999. That's insane. And this movie was of course parodied numerous times. I feel like that's how you know the movie kicks ass. When another movie likes the concept so much, they want to give you like a free shout out and make a parody of it. The shaky cam element of this film, of course, will annoy some of you, but it actually works in this specific case. They're a group of young filmmakers, so of course it's going to be handheld documentary style of a movie. Movies like Cloverfield don't have to be shaky cam. That's just a headache, don't do that. And before we wrap up here, guys, we're gonna go ahead and check out some comments from one of our last videos, top 5 horror movie Easter eggs that changed the movie. The first comment comes all the way from Shay Shay, and they say, that one trap that slowly twisted all of his limbs until it ended up snapping his neck, that one stuck with me. Yeah, that one and the one where the guy had to like rip his piercings out in the classroom, those two I was uncomfortable with for a very long time. I think I forgot about the twisted limb thing until today, so thank you for that. Shay Shay, thanks so much. Happy Thursday. Next one is from Tina Jean Coetzee. I ruined your name, sorry. They say worst saw trap is the needle bathtub pit. As I was afraid of needles when I was younger, after tattoos and various tests, I'm more used to it. And the best ones are a tie between the reverse bear trap and the other one is the angel trap. Amazing designs and very interesting. Sorry, Taylor. I have one tattoo for a reason. I'm not a fan of needles. I actually fainted, fun fact, I fainted when I was 19 when I got my eyebrow pierced. She clipped it in and I was like, oh cool, that feels good. And then I woke up. So I hear ya. I also like how you said sorry, Taylor at the end of that comment. Like, now I'm gonna wake up in a horror trap tomorrow, for sure. Sorry, Taylor. And then you like got up and ran towards us. And last one is from Don Flynn. They say The Haunting of Hill House had hidden ghosts in their episode. I know it's not a film, but I thought it's worth a mention. Totally worth a mention. Hill House, I think, has like over 30 hidden ghosts in the background in just the first season. Any flashback to when they're kids, just look in the background, you're gonna find one. Or they'll find you. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end, guys. Comment down below which horror movies are at the top of your list, because then we can add them to the top of our lists. Until next time, I'm Taylor McWaters. Later, skaters.